Welcome back to another Purpose Served podcast episode. It's your legendary host, Darryl Wingfield. We're back with another one. If y'all new to this podcast is about inspiring you to be the best version of yourself that you can be by innovating and improving the human experience and honoring the two greatest commandments on a spiritual level, which is the love the Lord your God and love your neighbor as you love yourself. I just did something bogus before I started recording, but we here. It is Good Friday. This is the weekend where Yeshua, Jesus Christ, was crucified for speaking the truth. And with that being said, the system that got him up out of here is the same system that we living under right now to this very day, and it existed before he even came into this earth in a human form through the Spirit of God. And I'm talking about the beast system. We are living in the nature of the beast, and we actually living for the nature of the beast. If you guys look around, it'd be quite easy to see, if your eyes are open, that people will give in to their animalistic nature rather than rising above that to more so of a spiritual one. You're led through your spirit no matter what, whether you're ignorant to it or you are enlightened to it. Either or you are guided by spirits. Most people are selfish rather than being selfless. And that selfishness is the quality of the beast system that we live in. The qualities of the beast system is associated with savagery, being wild, ferocious, dangerous, and living off the instinct of your pleasures, which is ultimately hedonism. An ideal life for most people is a hedonistic one, where the objective of life is to seek out pleasures. And your pleasures will lead to your demise if that's the thing that rules you. And you have to separate your pleasures from growth and not group those things ultimately in the same thing, and find joy in growth rather than finding joy in pleasure. And the fall of man has always been because we seek what pleasures us and we seek our animal instincts. And at the end of the day, this meat suit that we got and this avatar that we got, that our soul and our spirit is being housed in, is one of an animal. A human being at the end of the day is an animal in its lowest form, in its lowest nature. So that part of us is and somewhat instilled in us. But even though we are animals, we are different from other animals that's been created by God. All animals are different from other animals in that regard. And there's so many different varieties of animals out there, but it's noticeable the impact that we have had on this planet that we're inhabiting with us being animals. And it has to do with the way that we think and the way that we feel about the world that we're living in. It seems as though we have a consciousness that is so strong and so powerful that it can drastically change the way that the world is shaped for all living things. Case in point, think about how the world is today compared to how it was probably like 300 years ago. or 1,000 years ago. Rural areas that have been turned into cities. For example, New York City, that city alone was not what it is now 1,000 years ago. And we are able to drastically change the world around us in such a radical way. The way that we're able to domesticate animals such as like dogs, cats, horses, sheep, cows, all different types of stuff. And it also aligns with the biblical truths of us having dominion over the land, the sky, and the sea, and everything that's within it. But with all of that being said, when we give away our God-given talents and abilities and turn it into something that's selfish, unintentionally that destroys us. Even when we try to have dominion over these things, which that is the natural order of things and was built in us, we destroy. We destroy. And the nature of the beast system is to ultimately divide and conquer. And when you're dividing and conquering something, ultimately you're trying to break things down instead of building them up to unite each other. And most people succumb to the system to the point where they feel as though they have no hope when it comes to overcoming what they are feeling and what they're thinking, even though they know what's wrong deep down inside. Another thing that I've been noticing as well, when it comes to this Luciferian system that we are living in, most people think it's okay. They don't even put no real thought into what's really going on and why they are in the system to begin with. A lot of people think that this is by chance, as this Luciferian system wants them to think and believe. A lot of them think they have no power or no control. So there's nothing that can be done about any of this. It is what it is. And there's always a choice. And you can either hold on to your power, maintain it, and use it for the greater good, or you can let it go and let the evil just do what it does. And just have some sort of illusion of hope that one day that things is going to get better. It's going to get better. And that's not it. It is not it. You have to contribute to the greatest good in some sort of way. And the best place to start will always be with yourself 10 times out of 10. 10 times out of 10, that is where the best place to start will be, is within yourself. And cultivate and love within yourself in order for you to be able to show that to your fellow man, your neighbor. And your neighbor is not the person that lives next to you. Your neighbor is all of humanity. I say this all the time on this platform, is that you should be looking at every single person on the face of this earth as a reflection of yourself. And what you are doing to harm another person is what you're doing to harm yourself. I had an interesting experience this morning. And I was talking to somebody at the gym about this not too long ago, probably like 2 hours ago. Right now it's like 8:50 at night, April 3rd to be exact. But my morning started off. It started off around 6:30, I want to say. I got to the gym. around like 7:30 playing basketball. Played basketball for about like a good 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And then I left. And right after I left the gym, I went to a trail right down the street from where I live. And I put my phone away, put my headphones away. And this trail is a mile, it's a mile long loop. It was pretty foggy outside and a really light drizzle. And I'm walking towards the back of the loop, towards a creek. And something in me told me to stop and look at what I was seeing. And while looking at what I was seeing, there was a bird that flew by. And in fact, I haven't done this in a while. I wrote about this earlier. So I'm going to read you guys exactly what I wrote down from what I got from this experience. I just wanted to paint that picture, but I'm pretty sure what I wrote down will be stated. So you're going to be hearing a bunch of stuff that I already just said. But let's see what I wrote down. Or here. For some of y'all that's been that's listening instead of watching. Earlier today I went for a walk after playing basketball before I came home. It was a foggy morning and there was a lot of thoughts clouding my judgment, but not enough for me not to be observant of them. I was walking on the trail and I got near the creek, and while looking, I seen a bird flying just above the water. And my spirit told my soul to pay close attention to what I saw. The bird landed on top of the water. Most individuals live in the reflection of the water, and the reflection is inverse to the true reality. I seen in the reflection of the water everything that was above it, such as the bird flying, the trees, and so on. It was a shadow of the true essence. Within a reflection of the water, it is impossible to get a true glimpse of the spiritual nature of the universe. The bird was hovering over the water like the spirit of God in the creation story. The bird flew down to the top of the water like the dove that came down from the heavens sent from God to show others that Yeshua was the Son of God during his baptism by his cousin, John the Baptist. There's a reason why this took place in the order from above to below. Majority of individuals get caught up in the face of the deep, never being able to ascend from their bestiality to their heavenly body. It truly is for those who thirst for it and are truly seeking it. We have the ability through the grace of God to live in harmony with our spirit, which we share with all living things contained in the universe, whether it is seen or unseen. On October 13th, 2023, I received a powerful insight on the same trail. It seems that God is constantly reminding me of the magnificence of his uncreated light, which we are a part of. That's what I wrote down like earlier today after like sitting with it and reflecting on it for a little bit. And even on that date of October 13th, 2023, there was another thing on the same trail that happened to me, which was like kind of nuts. And I looked up at the sun, and there were sun dogs around the sun. And if you guys don't know what a sun dog is, it's pretty much that it's like a rainbow lighting from the reflection of like crystals coming off of clouds that's like around the sun, and it's like a bigger circle around the sun that's literally like a rainbow. So look that up if you don't know what that is, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about, a sun dog. And from that, this is one of the first times where I learned what the uncreated light of God was, because God was just saying in that essence was that the sun wasn't the light source, the true light source, and that the light source is even more powerful and brighter than that, way brighter than that, and it comes from a spiritual essence. And I didn't understand this at first, Oh, when I first received this, and I remember I stopped dead in my tracks while I was on this trail, and I knelt down and I prayed, and then I got back up and I just started walking again. And I wrote about it 3 days later. Before the inspiration for what hit me mysteriously disappeared or went away for some odd reason. It felt like I had to be obedient to what my soul was telling me to do. And these are the deep experiences that I've been having like these last couple of years, and glimpses of what I've been telling you guys about from listening to myself deep down. And the one thing that I'm coming to understand is that through God, anything and everything is possible. And God is love. Like, God is love. Most people do not believe that because it's easier to believe what limits you, what makes you hate yourself, what make you doubt yourself, and what fills you with fear, because that's all you've known since you came into this world. You've been conditioned to believe that, and that's not true. It's a lie. Everything that we are living in is inverse to how God created things. And God don't want you to live in a state of fear. God don't want you to live in a state of panic. God don't want you to be forced to do things that you don't want to do. And ultimately, you have a choice. That's the most beautiful thing about all of this. Ultimately, you have a choice. And not only that, you were made in the image of God. Even though you were made from the dust of the ground and the things that make up this earth, your essence and what you truly are and the nature of who you truly are, that is in your body, this vessel that's housing your soul and your spirit. That's where the true you is. And the true you knows your purpose, and the true you knows your calling, because it was built and instilled in you from day one. And you get removed from that once you start falling in line with this beast system that's going to put you in a cubed room and teach you the ways of the world. And you're going to pick up the evilness from the people in your school. You're going to pick up the evilness from the people in your household. And you are so deeply connected to the people around you and your environment that you may think the things that they tell you is out of love, but it's not. Do what you want, but it's truly a terrible thing to listen to people that think that you think that got your best interest at heart, but they don't even have their own best interest at heart, and they're filled with hate. They're filled with hate, and they think that is because like it's other people, but nah. Going back to what I said earlier, if you hate your neighbor, you hate yourself. If you don't like your neighbor, you don't like yourself. And that's the things that we must learn to overcome. And the greatest spiritual teacher of all time, which is Christ, like, tells us these things. We gotta abide by them and listen to them because it's of our best interest. Within this beast system, there's also a game of telephone that gets played. And you know how in a game of telephone, if you ever played this, like when you was young and in school, somebody can have a message such as, I had pizza for lunch. And by the time it gets to the last person, the message is not, I had pizza for lunch. The message can be, Johnny got into a fight in gym class. And how did that message change from the original person that said the message going all the way down to that last person? How? Go to the source. Go to the source. 2 podcasts ago, I think it was 2 podcasts ago. I don't know. I do not know, but I gave a reference for where you could find the source of the life of Christ. That was the episode. That was the episode on where you could find the life of Christ, and that was within the first 4 books of the New Testament, the Gospels, which is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which is essentially where the whole entire Bible is centered around, from the Old Testament and even from the apostles' writings and stuff like that. From Paul and John and all of them, is centered around this one man's life. The Son of Man / the Son of God. Most people use the game of telephone for the life of Christ and the things that he taught, the things that he said, and the things that he's done. And the issue for a lot of people now, especially when it's involving the faith and spirituality and all of that, they are relying on other people and their false doctrines to interpret the man's words himself, instead of going to the man's words himself and trying to interpret it for themselves. You have to be the source. You have to take your source and go to the source. Do the work. Do the real work. And most people aren't trying to do the real work. And that's terrifying. And even when it comes to the Bible, you get a lot of times like the common theme that it seems like when it comes to humanity falling, it tends to stem from other people wanting them, like individual wanting somebody to figure out their problems for them and solve them for them, like solve their deep-seated emotions and issues for them, instead of them doing the real work themselves. And nobody can do that for you. I can't do that for you. Your pastor can't do that for you. Your therapist can't do that for you. Your friends can't do that for you. Your mama can't do that for you. Your daddy can't do that for you. Your siblings, your cousins, I don't care. Your girlfriend. None of that. Your wife, husband, whatever, whoever's listening to this. They can't do that for you. And if you're relying on that, you're screwed. Because you didn't cultivate that love within yourself. Christ said the kingdom of heaven is inside of you. The truth is inside of you. And you have to build up your spiritual strength in order to get that out. You can't bring your emptiness to another person and hoping that they're going to fill this void for you that you have. It's not real. It's not going to happen. And it's only a matter of time before a collapse comes and calamity comes your way. Life is simple, but it's not easy. And most people are really, really, really like blinded to the truth, and they don't want to know. They do not want to know. They don't care to know. They much rather be living in the world of the blue pill. And in the Matrix, that was the choice. You either take the blue pill and stay in the Matrix, or you take the red pill and wake up to the reality of what's really going on. And while walking, and I seen that what I seen with the bird hovering over the water, and I'm looking at the water, and it was a reflection of what was above the water, but everything was in reverse. So I'm seeing the trees come out the ground with my very own eyes, but through the reflection of the water, the trees is going down, but coming out the ground. And in this beast system that we live in, this Luciferian system, that's how the world works. The trees are growing downward instead of growing upward towards the heavens. It's sinking into the depths, into the face of the deep. And this is what you have to overcome. You got to prevent yourself from sinking into the depths and sinking into the deep and rising above it. And you do that through being light. Quite literally. Symbolically, but literally as well. You have to become light. You have to become the light of God. And you have a unique, authentic tuning fork for that. And everybody, whether they blinded to it or not, is a aspect of God living within them, and an aspect of God's creation. They have a God spark in them. Everybody, every living thing, everything in the universe is an aspect of that. But the fallen nature comes from turning a blind eye to it and placing your allegiance to darkness rather than light. And when majority of people are in darkness, are involved in this Luciferian system to make it more stronger and powerful, which is not necessarily real of what I just said, because it's at the end of the day weak. And you got weak people trying their hardest to lie and deceive the masses into staying weak themselves. But the true strength comes from standing your own ground in the presence of God and letting that power you and charge you throughout the day, on a daily. Give us this day our daily bread is a reliance on God every single day to provide your every need, instead of you selfishly trying to figure that out on your own, which you will fall short. And this is something that I struggle with, is stepping out my own way to let God do the work for me, and using myself as a vessel to let that happen, and letting the Spirit of God activate within me. And even before I started recording this podcast, like it was like that for like 5 or 10 minutes of me thinking about what I was going to say and how I was going to say it. And this was in the back of my head for like a couple of days, actually, before I started doing this, all the way up until this moment, knowing that I had to step out the way. The more you step out the way, the best things are going to work out, even when it don't look like it from your own lens. But get out your way. That is the lesson that I'm learning right now in my present life, is how to step out the way. Even when things feel like it's not happening quick enough, fast enough, in a way that I wanted to, and all of that, it don't matter. Humble yourself and be a good vessel. And be of service to humanity, and be of service to your fellow man, and do it from the standpoint of love. Unconditional. Not where it's conditions, because if it is conditions, that's not really love. Love is truly unconditional. They're doing it no matter what. Knowing that the people of his generation, even now, and the ones that came before, Christ, Yeshua, he knew that the people around him was wicked. And I speak on this all the time, is one of his last words on the cross was him praying to God and asking God to forgive the people because they didn't know what they were doing. And that is very, very, very powerful. That's powerful. The masses wanted him dead. And he didn't lie. He didn't cheat. He didn't steal to get to the top. He simply lived and spoke the truth in the most divine, unique way. And took the right path every step of the way. When the whole world wanted everything under the sun for him. And ultimately, you don't hear about how people was trying to look out for his own well-being. They was trying to look out for his well-being in their own selfish way. Peter is a great example of that. Peter is a great example of that. So yeah, if you want the golden age of humanity and the spirit of man and the spirit of God to come about, in the ages of all ages that will come about no matter what, you yourself have to carry the spirit of God and the kingdom of heaven within you and live that out amongst this darkness in this world that we living in. That is fighting a good fight. And you fight the good fight out of love. And you must be a spiritual warrior in a spiritual contest that's going on. And fighting along the side of good. And the most beautiful thing about this is that it's nothing of yourself that you have to do, but simply step out the way and let God do the work. And that don't necessarily mean you sit there and you wait for things to happen. We all deep down know when something comes up what we must do and when we must do stuff. The most important thing is listening to it when it does happen and it strikes our spirit. We must act on it. We have to act on it. Majority don't, and majority do not care to act on it. They're really unconscious to themselves, which makes them live a selfish lifestyle and seek hedonism till it causes their demise. And at that point is almost certainly too late for most. Break the beast system. Rise above your animalistic nature to the spirit that's built in you. And love the Lord your God with everything that you have. Pour it out into life, which is to love your neighbor. And you'll be honoring the two greatest commandments, which is a simplified version of the Ten Commandments that was given to the people at Mount Sinai by Moses. Honor that. And you'll be going from a fallen state to a risen one. You'll be climbing out your own tomb and going and ascending to heaven in all its magnificent glory. And things natural that God has created is a reflection of that. Life is beautiful, people. It really is beautiful. It really is beautiful. Well, until next time, I thank y'all for listening. This was just me kind of ranting, as I always do. But I'm out of here. Deuces. Love y'all, man. Serve your purpose.